And this interception of a Sims pass by the Bengals' James Griffin put the game out of reach. Those were 2 of the 9 turnovers the Giants have had in the last 2 weeks. A long afternoon for Coach Bill Parcells. And it was a great but sad day for Phil Simms. The standings in the NFC East. Both today's coaches agree that today's loser will have a tough time catching the Cowboys. As is the case every week, Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey is sold out for the match between the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants. Good afternoon, I'm Pat Summerall. You couldn't ask for a better day to play football than what we have here at Giant Stadium this afternoon. We have one team seemingly on the rise, one seemingly on a demise stretch. With me, of course, is our CBS football analyst, the coach, John Madden. And, John, when you look back at the fact that the Giants have lost 2 in a row, the Redskins have won 2 in a row, I think if you looked at one single factor, it would have to be turnovers.
Well, that's the thing that's so tough, those turnovers. You never know. You go into a game and you think this team's better than the other one, but turnovers is a thing that really equate everything. And I think that in talking to both coaches, they say, as a coach, it's really something that's tough to talk about because no one tries to fumble, no one tries to throw interceptions. Both coaches feel that the way to eliminate turnovers is by being able to run successfully. Bill Parcells doesn't want to throw as much as they've thrown in the last 2 weeks. Joe Gibbs says that when we're best is when we can run the ball 40 times a game. Now, that's going to be a little tougher today for the Redskins because in the pregame warm-up, their big tackle, Joe Jacoby, was trying to push off his right leg, and his knee's bothering him, and he may not start. So Russ Grimm would move from left guard to left tackle, and Jeff Bostic, who was just activated this week, would start at left guard. So that'll be a little tough running for the Redskins.
John, Jess Atkinson set to kick off for the Giants. Back deep will be Ken Green, number 31 for the Redskins. If it goes in that direction, and it will. At the 5 is Green. Out of the pack. Very nearly broke something, gets out to about the 28. Casey Merrill tripped him up. The Redskins offensive backs and receivers. Theismann, of course, the quarterback. They start with Riggins, the lone setback. Gary Clark and Calvin Muhammad, the wide receivers. The 2 tight ends, Clint Didier and Don Warren. Up front, it will be Russ Grimm at left tackle, Jeff Bostic at left guard, Rick Donnelly the center, Huff and Mark May on the right side. 1st and 10 Redskins from their own 29, and Calvin Muhammad will start in place of Art Monk. Theismann will go to work on 1st down and has the rookie Clark. Gary Clark to midfield from Theismann, stopped by Terry Kennard and Kenny Hill. The Giants defense, Curtis McGriff and Leonard Marshall the ends, and Jim Burt in the middle. The linebackers, Hunt Reasons, Carson and Lawrence Taylor. Secondary, Patterson and Williams the corners, and Hill and Kennard the safeties. Here is Riggins up the middle and hammers for about 4 to the Giant 46. Lawrence Taylor on the bottom of the pile. Riggins got off to a rather slow start, but in the last couple of weeks, it's been like he was 2 years ago. 2nd and 5 as he hammered for 5. You wonder if they can run as well with this new offensive line. Jacoby, of course, an all-pro out. Grimm at left tackle in his place, and Riggins goes in that direction. He got perhaps a yard. Byron Hunt was the first man to make the hit.
You know, I think one thing, both of these players are smart players. We're talking about Russ Grimm playing left tackle. We're talking about Jeff Bostic, the left guard. You know, they know their assignments. They're not someone that, you know, that hasn't played. They have experience. It's just not playing that position.
Keith Griffin has replaced Riggins as the lone setback. It'll be 3rd and 4. Passing down. Theismann looks left, throws left. Almost caught by Calvin Muhammad, but it wouldn't have mattered because he was out of bounds. Covered by Herb Welch, and covered very well. So the Redskins are too far away from Mosley. They'll send Steve Cox in to punt. He's replaced Jeff Hayes, who was hurt against the Chicago Bears. Phil McConkey is back deep at the 10-yard line. Ranks 4th in the NFC. Phil took a shot last week, and he's still hurting just a bit. Steve Cox done a good job since he replaced Davis. McConkey will let it go. Takes a Redskin bounce, and they down it. Greg Williams down at about the Giants' 6-yard line. 38-yard punt, no return. Washington nothing, Giants nothing.
I'll tell you, this is some rivalry here, Pat. When these guys, they're hitting before the play, during the play, after the play. Watch Kenny Hill here. He's getting a couple hits as he walks off the field. Watch him here. He wants one more. I'm just going to the sideline. Whap! He said what?
They came to play. Lionel Manuel, by the way, is not in the Giant offensive lineup. It's Byron Williams in motion. Bobby Johnson's the other. Bob Carpenter straight ahead for about a yard. Dave Butts made the stop. Here's the Washington defensive line. They play the 4-man front. Mann, Butts, Grant, and Manley across the front. The linebackers, Kaufman, Olkowitz in the middle, and Rich Malott, the right outside linebacker. The secondary has Green and Dean as the cornerbacks, and Peters and Jordan, the safety men. It's 2nd and 8. Manuel now is in the game. Morris is the man in motion. Hand off to Carpenter. He struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage as Dexter Manley leads the defense.
One thing Dexter Manley was saying this year, Pat, is that he wants to play the run better. He said it's not all sacks being a defensive end. He says you have to be able to play the run as well. He worked all off season in the weight program to get bigger and stronger. And I'll tell you, those 2 arms that he's carrying there look like a couple of legs.
He hammered Chris Godfrey with one of them to stop that play. Dexter now way outside as Tony Galbraith is in the game. No flag. Sims back in the end zone, fires. Open is Lionel Manuel. And he's got the Giant first down out to the 21. Curtis Jordan made the stop. Darrell Green was the Redskin who couldn't quite keep up. He's playing with a broken hand, and that can have its effect. Let's look now at the Giant offense. Sims, the quarterback, he's been red hot. Morris and Carpenter, the runners. Bobby Johnson and Lionel Manuel, the wide receivers. Those are the men up front. Sims with plenty of time. Manuel with a catch. Out to the 41. Darrell Green chasing again. John, getting back to the fact that Darrell Green is playing with a broken hand, that can really affect the defensive back.
Well, you know, it can, especially a guy like Darrell Green, who's not a big guy. He only weighs about 165, 170 pounds. And what happens is any little extra weight that you put on that body slows him up. And he feels that that cast on that left hand is giving him a problem with his speed and his quickness.
He's got Manuel again. Sims looking in the other direction to Byron Williams. He can burn it. Covered by Vernon Dean, but Williams had a couple of steps.
I'll tell you one thing I'm impressed here with the Giants early, Pat, is their pass protection. They're doing a good job on that front 4 of the Redskins. You know, Brad Benson is over there going man-to-man against Dexter Manley. Billy Ard against Darrell Grant. And on the last couple of plays, they've done a pretty good job. You see Benson there on Manley. You see Ard in there. They're giving Sims time to step up, even though it doesn't look like a lot of time.
And when you give him time, as hot as he's been, he'll burn you. Drop play to Rob Carpenter. He did well to hold on to the football as Neil Olkowitz hammered him just as the exchange was made. A loss of 6.
I tell you, that's a good call by the defense, and it's a call you don't want offensively. Because anytime you get a blitz, and Neil Olkowitz was on a blitz that time, then you really don't have a chance on a draw play. Watch him. He's going to come straight up the middle. You'd like those linebackers to drop deep. But if they're coming on a blitz, they're going to get that penetration. And it's tough to run that delay or draw play.
3rd and 16. Sims out of the sprint. Johnson, first down. Covered by Vernon Dean, but a good throw from Sims. Gain of 18.
I think right here at the end, it looked like Vernon Dean slipped down. Maybe Bobby Johnson made him fall down. See, he bends into him a little. Dean is trying to push. It looked like he tripped right there, and Bobby Johnson was open on the sideline. That's one way. There's a little pushing and shoving going down there to get open, too.
I was talking to Richie Pettibone, who's assistant head coach for the Redskins, who runs their defense, just before the game, and he said to me, Phil Simms right now is throwing the ball better than anybody else in the NFL. And we believe it. Morris, right side for a couple. Dave Butts was there.
You know, I agree with Richie Pettibone on Phil Simms. I think the other thing that impresses me about Phil Simms is he's a tough guy. He's
Really?
hanging in there. It seems with all these blitzes and, you know, nicking and jabbing at quarterbacks, some of those quarterbacks around the league are starting to get intimidated a little. And I've seen more of that this year than I ever have before, but Phil Simms is not one of them.
He took a beating last week in Cincinnati and hung in there. 2nd and 8. Bavaro almost made a spectacular catch. Checking the scoreboard early. Detroit surprisingly in front of San Francisco, 7-0. The Raiders over Cleveland, 7-0. Houston leading Cincinnati 7-0. All of those in the first quarter, as is San Diego at Minnesota. The Chargers lead. Washington nothing, Giants nothing. Joe Jacoby, the all-pro tackle for the Redskins, unable to play because he can't push off his right leg. It's a knee problem. It's something that was discovered in the pregame warm-up. 1st and 10 Redskins. Didier moves. Warren moves. Hart is split wide to the right, and here comes that famous Redskin play. Riggins hammers over the right side, stopped by Byron Hunt. Correct something I said earlier. We had said Ken Green. It's Ken Jenkins for the Redskins, who returns the kicks.
You know, the interesting thing about that play, Pat, the Redskins call that counter tray. Joe Gibbs and the Redskins, one of the first to run it. Now you see it every week. Every team has counter tray.
2nd down. Riggins again. Over the left side, and he's hit as he crosses the 25. The defense led by Jim Burton. Terry Kennard up from safety position to help out. Mass substitutions for the Giants as they put in their pass rushing crew. 3rd and 4, Riggins comes out. And the Redskins will operate with their passing offense. Keith Griffin is behind Theismann. Clark in motion. Outside Didier. Didier will get the Redskin first down. And Didier looked as if he might have been shaken a bit. And he does get up gingerly. 11-yard gain.
I think Lawrence Taylor took a pretty good swing at him over there in that sideline. Lawrence Taylor was covering Clint Didier. He could have been picked. Watch him here. You see him here as he starts here. There's a little bump right in there. You see, he can't get by. He was picked, but it was by his own man. So now Didier's on the side. Watch that right arm swing up there. And again, if that is in the head, that's a penalty. If it's on the shoulder pad, they don't call it. That was a close one.
Didier was the man in motion, and it's Riggins over the left side. For about 5 behind Russ Grimm and the new left guard, Jeff Bostic.
You know, it's an interesting thing. I was talking to Jeff Bostic last night at the hotel, and he said, you know, it's been a year since I've played. He said, I don't even remember if I'm going to know how to go in the locker room and put my suit on. He said, that would be tough, the pregame warm-up. He said, I don't know how to do that stuff. It's been so long.
Well, he had on a suit last night.
Yeah, but I mean the suit of armor, this gear they got, helmets, shoulder pads, jerseys, game stuff.
Ball's at the Redskin 42. Giants showing the best. Riggins showing the move to the left side. He's around the corner. Enough for a first down, taken down by Lawrence Taylor. This
John Riggins is something, isn't he, Pat? The oldest running back in the league. You look at Riggins, and he's a big guy. I mean, 240-pound fullback, and a lot of times people don't remember that he has quick feet, that he's a quick guy. You know, he's a power guy, but he's also a quick guy. He has some foot movement sometimes that reminds you of a halfback.
Well, when he was in high school, he won the 100-yard dash championship in the state of Kansas.
And you don't think of that type of thing
That's
with
right.
a 240-pound guy.
Here comes Didier moving again. There goes Riggins to the left side again. That whole thing looks like a scrum when he ducks up in there.
Well, you know, and that added to the scrum on that play. They had their tight end, Donnie Warren, was in the backfield as a fullback, and he led Riggins over that left side. So that get him another play there. That's just, there's 85. You see John Riggins is like the tailback, the guy in front of him. You see the tight end? He's leading Riggins. Riggins gets in there behind Russ Grimm, and he gets in there behind his other tight end. That was Anthony Jones, number 82.
2nd and 6. Giants have changed their defense. They've got Reasons down in the line. And it worked. That's an overship. Jim Burt made the stop.
The thing about the Redskins is you can't line up in a regular 3-4 defense. You have to get someone down over those guards. They had Gary Reasons down that time. They're going to overshift. They'll put a nose tackle over guard, as Jim Burt did on that one. And they have to keep moving their front around, because if the Redskins know where you are, they can really root you out.
It's 3rd and 7. No penalty. Harry Williams with him step for step. Good coverage.
One thing, you're not going to outrun a Perry Williams. He's probably the fastest guy on the Giant defense. Watch him here. See now, again, the pass interference, as long as he's looking back, that's okay. A year ago, anytime they'd have contact like that, they'd have to throw a yellow thing down there.
Steve Cox. McConkey back deep for the Giants. Off the side of his foot, almost blocked by Ted Watt. And it's dead at the Giant 20. 19 make it. Only 27 yards on the kick. Cox almost had it blocked. Nothing still. Before the usual sellout crowd at Giant Stadium, that's the situation in the first quarter. The offensive line in the meeting, along with the coach and the fullback, John Riggins. Sims gives to Morris over the left side. Little scramble as Darrell Grant was on the bottom of the pile. Morris got only a couple. Couple of other scores while we have a moment. 49ers have tied Detroit. 1-yard run by Joe Montana. And Buffalo 7, Indianapolis nothing. Greg Bell, a 7-yard run. 2nd and 9. Morris is split wide to the right. He's looking for it. Gets it out to Carpenter. Carpenter hit by Neil Olkowitz first. About 3 yards short of the first down. Joe Gibbs just had a little meeting over on the sideline with his quarterback, Joe Theismann.
You know, an interesting thing that the Giants may be trying to do here on that 2nd down, and instead of running the ball, they just really haven't been successful with the run, is doing like the 49ers, those little things like that to Rob Carpenter, a little short pass in lieu of a run.
2nd and 3. McConkey is the move man. Sims takes the high snap, and now he comes out. Sims has run for the first down and a lot more. Phil Sims finally dragged down from behind by Curtis Jordan. But not before he gets a first down and a lot more. Close to midfield.
Phil Sims had time on that play. Phil McConkey was wide open deep. Watch him. It's from a shotgun here. And you see what happens. The Redskins, the tackles work out. You see that big thing there? You always want to have someone in the quarterback's face. Both tackles work to the outside. Sims couldn't find a receiver, but he did find a big lane in the middle of the field.
And he also got 22 yards. Giants in Redskin territory. Fakes to Morris. Look out. High over the head and picked off by Curtis Jordan. Brought down by Byron Williams. Lionel Manuel tipped the pass into the hands of Curtis Jordan.
Of course, this is a thing that the Giants know that they have to stay away from. Their first one of the day. They're moving the ball. They're really blocking pretty well here. Sims did have time, throws that ball, and it's his tip, and it's his first interception of the day. That was just a bad throw. It was a little too high. There's nothing that Manuel could have done about that.
That might have been intercepted if he hadn't touched it. Joe Theismann then takes over for the Redskins at the 32. And Theismann going for Clark. Got it. Clark to the Redskins 17 behind Elvis Patterson. A gain of 56. And what a perfect throw from Joe Theismann.
Well, you know, in talking with Coach Joe Gibbs and quarterback Joe Theismann last night, they both were bragging about what a good player this Gary Clark is. You know, he came in, they didn't know if he was even going to make the team, then maybe the fourth wide receiver, got all the way up to the starter, has good moves, good speed. We see on that play, he just ran right by Elvis Patterson. I think Patterson was in his zone. He was back there deep.
Clark played with Jacksonville in the USFL and led their team in receiving last year. Theismann gives to George Rogers. Lawrence Taylor tripped him up from behind. The Redskins have a player slow getting up. One of the tight ends, Anthony Jones.
I would think if I were Coach Joe Gibbs here that when I got down close to that goal line, I would want John Riggins in there. I know George Rogers is a fine running back, but it seems like when you get inside that 10-yard line, you want big number 44 in there.
Nothing. First quarter still.
The nightmare of divorce.
Everything's gone.
Margot Kidder stars as the woman picking up the pieces of her shattered life. But will she find love with James Farentino Tuesday?
Second down for the Redskins. They need 6 for a first down. They're at the Giants' 9. Intended for Clark. Bounced around and nobody could find a handle. Kenny Hill was right there with him.
That was an interesting play. They put George Rogers, the running back, out in motion all the way to the sideline, and they had the wide receiver, Gary Clark, in tight and tried to sneak him into the middle. And he's only 5'9". When you're 5'9", you can sneak little places like that.
After you sneak, you better be able to jump. Theismann back, throws, Clark, and it's picked up in the end zone by Herb Welch.
Bill Sims throws an interception, and Joe Theismann comes right back and gives it back to him again. I think we just had an example here of the things that have really hurt both of these teams. Which is up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. That was a good play, good hit. You see, Clark got hit just as the ball got there. I think Welch was smart in staying in the end zone, taking the ball in the 20.
That's his first NFL interception. So the Giants take over first and 10 at their own 20 with a minute 19 left in the first quarter. Sims gives to Carpenter. Carpenter has no place to go as Neil Olkowitz takes him from behind. Mel Kaufman, number 55, with the assist.
You know, I don't know why the Giants don't take a running game and just go boom and just run it straight at him. Every time they try and run the delay or this other stuff, they're running their middle linebacker through, and he's in the backfield, and they don't even have a chance to get started. I mean, they start at first and 10. They run a play to their fullback, and they're second and 15. So then everyone says, well, why does Sims throw so much?
Because he has to. 2nd and 15 from the 15. The throw again. Bobby Johnson manages to hang on. Vernon Dean was there with him. It looked like it might have to have a jump ball for a minute.
You know, I think that's the thing that really goes along there, Pat, is against the blitz. They blitz the linebackers. Now Bobby Johnson, the wide receiver, can come down and into that area where the linebackers would normally be had they not blitzed. So that's one way to take advantage of it.
That's the end of the first quarter. The Giants will have it 3rd and 9 from their own 21. But at the end of one, Redskins nothing, the Giants nothing. Giants have the ball at their own 21 as we begin the second quarter. Nothing the score. 3rd down and 9. Bill Sims out of the spread formation. Manley was offside. He didn't get back. He's got a free play. Tony Galbraith. Almost a first down, but they'll get another go at it if they take the penalty, which certainly they will.
Well, it'll be an interesting thing here because they'll measure that, I'm sure. They ought to measure that for a first down now. If it's a first down, then they ought to decline the penalty. If it's short of a first down, then they ought to take the penalty.
From where they marked it, it appears he might have that first down.
Offside, penalties refused, first down.
Gene Barth, the referee. It is a first down. Good effort by Tony Galbraith, the all-time leading pass receiver in the NFL as far as running backs are concerned.
I tell you, he did a good job of finishing that run off. That's what got the first down, that little extra at the end.
Quickly to Morris. About 3. Now for an NFL scoring update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat, the Dallas Cowboys score a 95-yard drive led by Gary Hogeboom. He hits Tony Dorsett, and it's 7-0. Cowboys lead the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go back to Pat and John.
No score here as yet. The Redskins had a good shot, but the Giants intercepted in the end zone. Phil Sims faces a 2nd and 6 situation. He gets to Morris. Morris on his feet. Joe Morris. Out to the 48. Darrell Green and Curtis Jordan had to make the tackle.
I think that's a good thing that the Giants did here. Watch, they're going to come off here to their right, to left. They just pull the tackle out. The tight end blocks down, get some lead blocking, some power, hit that hole quickly, get it turned upfield, and spread that thing out. I think the Giants are now in a position that they've opened up passing, loosened the Redskins up. Now they can get some running if they go right at them.
First down, Giants from their own 47. This is Carpenter to the outside, and he won't make much. About a yard. Mel Kaufman and Dexter Manley. Pittsburgh leading the Cardinals 7-3. Mark Malone to Lewis Lips, the touchdown. The Rams over Kansas City 6-0. Raiders in Cleveland now tied at 7 apiece. Ernest Biner just scored for the Browns. And Houston still leads Cincinnati 7-0 second. 2nd and 9 here at Giant Stadium. Sims intended for Morris. Rich Malott was right with him. One more score. Pass was intended for Morris. Atlanta winless, leading New Orleans in the second quarter 7-0.
You know, Dexter Manley is the 2nd leading sacker in the NFL, and of course the first one is Leonard Marshall of the Giants. So we have another battle going on here between guys on the opposite side of the line.
Number 1 and number 2 defenses as units in the NFC. Giants being first. Sims to McConkey. He's another one of those who has that knack to find the open spot. Raphael Cherry.
He's a real fighter. He's a real scrapper. He's one of these guys that's been a wannabe all his life. You know what I mean? Want to be bigger.
Now he is a B.
I know he is. I mean, he's just, you know, he's fought that thing. Everyone says you're too small. Yesterday out at practice, Rutgers was out here warming up before the Pitt game. He was running through their thing, and they were all looking longingly at him. So it looked like to play a little guy like that guy.
Sims back to throw. Charles Mann nails Sims, but he nails Carpenter. And they move deeper into Redskin territory. A gain of 8. Mel Kaufman.
You know, again, it's interesting what the Giants are doing here. Remember the first time the 49ers went to the Super Bowl against Cincinnati, they didn't have a good running attack. They didn't really have a lot of runners, so they started doing this in lieu of the run. That would be like a sweep. Just go back quickly, boom, hit your back outside, and he gets around the corner.
Kaufman is coming out, number 55. His place has been taken by Chris Keating, number 59. One of the things that Bill Parcells told us he wanted to do was keep that Redskin defense on the field a long time.
He said it seems that after 6 or 7 plays, they tend to get tired.
Morris. Charles Mann from the outside. First down, Giants. Remember, Morris had a tremendous day against the Redskins up here when the Giants beat the Redskins last year.
Well, I think that they're getting 2 things. We said that Bill Parcells was saying you like to keep these guys on the field 6 or 7 plays. They tend to get a little tired. It looked like that could be true. And the other thing, I think, is mix that run in, but hit it quickly, as they did that time with Joe Morris.
Morris splits out wide to the right this time. Carpenter remains alone setback. Sims goes back to throw. Looking for his tight end, Mark Bavaro, touchdown. Linebacker Chris Keating was back there with Bavaro. The Bengals tried to do it last week, covering with a linebacker, and he caught 12 passes.
The Giants were sharp on that one because we just saw Mel Kaufman go out of the game. He was replaced by Chris Keating, and right away the Giants went to work in Keating by getting Mark Bavaro man-to-man on him.
Rutledge holding. Atkinson for the extra point. With 10:38 left in the first half, Bavaro scores, and the Giants lead it 7-0. 7-0 Giants. 10:38 left first half. That's the scoring drive. 11 plays. They went 80 yards. They kept the ball 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Atkinson's kickoff is short. And Jenkins takes it at about the 14. Good return. Flowers. And here comes a penalty marker. Flags go up all over the place. I did see Lawrence Taylor in the middle of some of that.
Lawrence Taylor, the Giants are taking this game seriously. Lawrence Taylor was on the kickoff coverage. I think it was one of those bumps as they were walking off the field. Lawrence Taylor saw the bump and said, "Hey, you don't do this to my guys." That's it right here. You see Kenny Hill, who started the first one, got
Automatic
bumped. Taylor turns around.
For number 48, New York. 15-yard penalty. Disqualification.
That was the thing. Kenny Hill, number 48, was just kicked out of the game. That you see, he did that on the opening kickoff, and then on this one, they just caught him again, and they are not only giving the Giants a 15-yard penalty, but they threw Hill, the starting strong safety, out of the game.
Harry Carson over arguing with Gene Barth, the referee. But that's not going to help. Carson, of course, is the defensive captain. And the Redskins, after a good return, get the ball right at midfield. Clark comes out wide to the left. Kenny Hill is out of the game. George Rogers is still the Redskin runner. Leonard Marshall, number 70, on the bottom of the pile.
You know, someone should have talked to Kenny Hill after that first one, after the opening kickoff, you know, and say, look, go until the whistle blows. We don't need anything after the whistle. We don't need that. That's not going to help us beat the Redskins. I wonder if anyone talked to him after the first one, because he comes out and does it again and gets thrown out of the game. Now that hurts the entire team.
2nd and 5 at the Giant 45. Rogers hit in the backfield, breaks a tackle, and Rogers barrels for a Redskin first down at the Giant 36. Again, for an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat and John, here it is. Block set to punt. He simply bobbles the snap, and Guy McIntyre, the Niners, roars in. Touchdown, San Francisco. They lead at 14-7. The Lions, however, on the march again. Let's go back to Pat and John.
It's the Redskins who are on the march here, Brent. First down, Washington at the Giant 36. Didier moves. Warren moves. Rogers is the ball carrier. Rogers is hammered. Hit first by Harry Carson. Rogers had a bad shoulder coming in. Thought it was okay. See what happened to number 56, Lawrence Taylor.
Well, of course, it's tough. You know, he knows that that's a big play. He knows that when they start that way, you better play off. Rogers is in there. He'll take that play wider. So you have to be ready to bounce out as Taylor did on that play. When Riggins runs it, he's going to cut it up in there tighter.
No gain on the play, or maybe a half yard. Call it 2nd and 9. Heisman fakes. Outside to Didier. He had it for a moment. Now they say it's incomplete. Giants and the fans thought it might have been a fumble. They call it incomplete. Terry Kennard made the hit.
See, Theismann, you know, always likes to play fake, you know, to fake that back in there and then hold those linebackers and then get something out there short. There he tried to get it out to Didier. Now Terry Kennard, who was a normal free safety, is now playing strong safety, and he was man-to-man on Didier.
Keith Griffin has replaced Rogers. Again, it's Didier moving. Incomplete. Gary Clark was the intended receiver. Mosley is coming out. I was watching him in pregame warm-up from this direction.
This is a 52-yarder for Mosley. Yeah,
he was getting it far enough. He was getting it far enough. 52, you're right. First shot outside of the 50 this year. No good. And they bring it back to the line of scrimmage. Giant defense gets some applause, and they lead 7-0. John Riggins to the oxygen. Carried the ball 8 times. Gained 26 yards so far.
I think he's engaged to that oxygen deal there, because he hasn't even been in the game. You know, he comes off after he's been in the game. He takes it just to stand there in the sideline.
First down, Giants. Kamara. Charles Mann and Neil Olkowitz on the stop.
Yeah, we see number 55, Mel Kaufman, is back in the game for the Redskins. He went out a couple plays, and it was Chris Keating, his replacement, who was beaten for the touchdown by Mark Bavaro.
Giants went right to work in that spot.
They said, we better get Kaufman back in there. From Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, that guy. Smart guys.
Figures you know. 2nd and 8. On a blitz. It's Bavaro. That was one that got away.
See who was there? Number 55, Mel Kaufman, Cal Poly guy.
Let's update some scores. The 49ers had been in front, 14-7. Detroit's come back to make it 14 apiece. Houston 10-0 over Cincinnati. 7-7 Atlanta, New Orleans. Buffalo 7-3 over Indianapolis. Pittsburgh leading St. Louis 14-3. Here it's 3rd and 8. Sims out of the spread. Has time. Has Bobby Johnson. He'll have a first down. Barry Wilburn was the defender. Some doubt about whether Bobby Johnson would be able to play this week.
Well, he had that neck injury from last week, and he didn't practice early in the week, practiced at the end, said he felt pretty good yesterday. And the way that he just worked Barry Wilburn there, he looked pretty good.
Sure did. He did have a good practice both Thursday and Friday, so he shouldn't be rusty. He goes out wide to the left with the other wide receiver, Lionel Manuel. Morris at the line of scrimmage by Charles Mann. This guy, number 71, Charles Mann, has turned into a heck of a football player.
He played that one well. The Giants, Mark Bavaro, the tight end, was blocking down on him. Carl Nelson, the tackle, was coming to the outside. Mann played off Bavaro's block and came right down the line of scrimmage.
He ranks third in the NFL in sacks.
We have 1, 2, 3 in this game today in sacks.
They'll have a shot at one right here, I'm sure. Almost got there. Pass was picked off by Tony Peters. And the Redskins get a turnover.
I think Phil Simms threw that one when he didn't want to. Watch from the left of the screen. 71 man. We were just talking about. Comes around Nelson. Watch the Simms is throwing there. Just after he throws it, though, he hit him in the back. I don't know that Simms wanted to throw it as quickly as he did, because he really didn't have a receiver there. A receiver that was open there. He had Joe Morris out there. He just threw to the wrong guy. They went off with Bavaro and left Morris on the sideline by himself.
But Simms had no time to make any sort of adjustment. Mann was really close by. Redskin ball their own 48. This is Rocky. They give on a reverse to Clark. Chased by McGriff. A gain of about 4 or 5. Lawrence Taylor finally ran him down. Turnovers have really been something that has haunted the Giants. Look at this in the first 4 games. When the one-loss record was 3-1, it was even takeaways and giveaways. When they went 0-2, it was -5. That's the secret.
Yeah, the other secret, all year they've just had too many turnovers. They have as many this far in the season as they did all last year.
Nice on second down, gets to Rogers. Rogers hammers down inside the Giant 45. Reasons stopped it. In the meantime, the Redskins were 1-3. They had 3 takeaway, 5 giveaway, a net of -12, and in the last 2 games, they were +8. It's amazing what that story tells.
Of course, they had 15 giveaways the first 4 games, and then they finally got that straightened out, and you just can't have that. And I think the way they did it is to get back to the running game.
Keith Griffin. Heisman hammered by Leonard Marshall. Marshall increases his individual lead. That's the Giants' first sack of the day.
Now he starts here. He starts on the inside. He wasn't working against the left tackle, Russ Graham. He was working against Jeff Bostic. He just got by Bostic, and he found Joe Theismann back there and says, that's what I've been looking for all day.
The league leader. Here's Steve Cox back to punt. High kick that McConkey signals for a fair catch. 4-5 hang time. Giants will take over at their own 18. 4:48 left in the first half. They lead 7-0. Don't forget, coming up next on CBS Sports, America's Marathon Chicago starts at 4:30 Eastern Time. 12,000 runners racing throughout Chicago. Next, here on CBS. There's a guy who just put on a little race. A happy one, wasn't it? Leonard Marshall.
You know, those sacks for a defensive lineman just make it all worthwhile. Makes training camp, all the weights you lift, all the running you do.
Carpenter and Dave Butts and company just stand up the Giant offensive line, and Carpenter gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you don't get much running room when you try and run in there at those big tackles, Dave Butts and Darrell Grant. I mean, you talk about a load, that's a wall in there. When you put those two guys, Butts and Grant, on his right side, shoulder to shoulder, you have to run a sweep to get outside of those guys.
Butts is 6'7", 305, and Grant is 275. Second down, Sims back to throw. Quickly outside. Joe Morris taken down by Rich Malott. 2 yards perhaps short of a first down, maybe just a yard.
Hey, on the pass protection, I think that the Giants' 2 tackles, Brad Benson and Carl Nelson, are doing a good job on these ends. And we talked about are both the second and the third leading sackers in the league. Dexter Manley was saying, you know, Brad Benson's more like a guard. He's only 6'3". He said, I hate to play against those little guys. I worked all week against Big Joe Jacoby, and Benson has always given me problems.
Dick Galbraith on a play that early in the year was extremely successful, and it was successful enough there to pick up a Giant first down.
This is a surprise because the Giants showed their passing formation, but they were in really a short yardage situation. It was 3rd and short, and they ran that little trap there in the middle, and Galbraith was just able to get the first down.
Turned out to be a good call.
Surprise, the Redskin defense fell for it, though.
Sims looking to throw. Has Morris in the middle. Morris breaks away from one tackler, and he picked up about 7 or 8. Mel Kaufman finally took him down. The Rams 10, Kansas City nothing. They are a surprise. Houston over Cincinnati 17-3. Jim Breach just kicked a field goal. Atlanta leading New Orleans 14-7. Mike Gann scored on a fumble recovery for the Falcons. 2nd and 3. Got the first down. Clock continues to run before they run another play unless somebody takes a timeout. We'll get the 2-minute warning.
I think that's what the Giants want to do, is they want to get it down to 2. They have all 3 of their timeouts left, and they know that they just want to keep the ball, get a score, and don't let the Redskins get it back this half.
2 minutes to go in the first half. The Giants over the Redskins 7-0. Pat Summerall with John Madden. As you look at the Redskins, all-pro wide receiver Art Monk, who's been unable to play because of an injured left shoulder. They miss him.
And then the other guy, of course, not playing is their big all-pro tackle, Joe Jacoby. And you take a Jacoby out of that line and a Monk out of that receiver group, they're going to have an uphill battle today.
Morris swings in motion, and Sims goes back to throw. Redskins on a blitz. Mel Kaufman.
I'll tell you, Kaufman just wasn't touched on that play, Pat. He just comes right here. Here he is. He's trying to time this thing and come right in here and right up here. No one touches him, and he gets the sack of Sims. The Giants are having a little problem right there with that blitz up the middle. You see the center, Bart Oates, looked to the left, and Kaufman came from his right.
2nd and 21. There's your school.
Of course, the general manager of the Redskins, Bobby Beathard, is from Cal Poly.
No flags. Draw play Carpenter. Nothing doing as he's hit by Rich Malott. I think the Redskins would start thinking about calling some timeouts now, wouldn't you?
I think they ought to right now. In fact, I'm sure that they're going to, because now it's going to be 3rd and over 20 yards to go. They can stop them on this down and then force them to punt and get pretty good field position.
That's the first one they've used, so they have 2 remaining. The Giants have all of theirs. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Brent and Irv will update scores and highlights of today's NFL action, plus Brent will interview Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing, I'm not sure that everyone's aware, has had a couple of fights in the last 2 preseason games that the Knicks have played. And we are told that the one he was involved in last evening resulted in an injured elbow. If he can play next week, we'll see Ewing in his debut. The NBA, the 76ers against the Knicks, live at 1 o'clock Eastern time.
You know, that could be something that goes with playing in New York, or being in New York, or being part of the team. You know, Billy Martin, the manager of the Yankees, he gets in a little scrape. Patrick Ewing, we see Kenny Hill getting thrown out of the game. A little influence there.
Could be right. I guess I was lucky. Here is Galbraith. Breaks away from one. Good run by Tony Galbraith. Now they want to take another timeout, I'm sure.
Well, the Redskins will take a timeout, but the thing that did is that's like adding 6 or 7 yards to their punt. That bought them a little better field position for the Giants and about 5 or 6 yards worse field position for the Redskins.
Sean Lundetta has punted just 1 time. So the Giants have been able to move the football. Got the 1 touchdown, 7-0. It's been a defensive battle, and you would expect it statistically when you come in with the #1 defensive unit against the #2 defensive unit.
Well, in the Redskins, you know, you take an Art Monk out of there. That's a big part of their passing game. I'm a little surprised that they haven't played John Riggins more. They played him early in the first quarter, and he hasn't been in the game since. I always think of the Redskins as Riggins. Riggins right, Riggins left. Wear him down, get him out, and then beat him in the second half.
Good kick. Jenkins will handle it at the Redskin 15. Jenkins got some room. Out to the 35. Tony Galbraith finally took him down. A 50-yard kick, a 20-yard return. So they net 30.
That's another area that the Redskins have been disappointing in, especially early in the season, and that's that area of special teams. Now, in the last couple of games, they're coming back. They're having better coverage. They're getting some returns, and that's always been a big part of Redskin football.
Going back to the days of George Allen. Mohammed comes out wide to the left. Didier moves in motion. Theismann has a rush coming his way. Jerome Salley jumped up to bat it down.
Yeah, 1 of 2 things happened to Jerome Salley. Either he was what you call a spy, where he stays on the line of scrimmage and he watches for screens and draws, or he was blocked very well and he didn't get off the line of scrimmage. One of those 2 things happened because he was still hanging around that line of scrimmage when he knocked that one down.
I think based on the situation and the people that are playing up front, he probably was handled. Turned out to be a break. Gets it outside to Don Warren. Tight end screen to Warren. Clock continues to run. 45 seconds. Jerome Salley out there to make the stop.
I'll tell you who has his hands full here is Jeff Bostic. In the pass rush formation the Giants are in, Leonard Marshall is playing over Bostic. Bostic is just activated today. Missed all year, you know, with a knee injury. Had been a center before that. So it's a tough day's work for him.
3rd and 6. Keith Griffin, the receiver. Enough for a first down, and now they'll have to stop the clock with their last timeout. Terry Kennard made the tackle. Here comes Theismann for a conversation with the coach.
I'm sure this is an area where Theismann and the coach both wish that they had an Art Monk. Let's watch Jeff Bostic. Here he does a pretty good job on Marshall. See, number 53 is the second guy in and the left. Marshall's number 70. Bostic just gets that head in there square. You know, puts that head right between the 7 and the O. Gets a little help from his center, Rick Donnelly, and then he comes back and says, "Thank Rick, I can get him from here." He's a good guy, Jeff Bostic. I mean, you know, it was a real shame last year when he had that knee injury. It was darn near a career-ending.
Took a long time for him to come back.
You know, I'm not sure he thought he was going to come back like this. I think he thought he was going to come back slowly, and then in the pregame warm-up, Joe Jacoby can't go, and they say, okay, Bostic, you're playing left guard. Grim, you move out to left tackle.
Clark is split out wide to the right. First down, Redskins with 18 seconds left to play in the first half. Theismann. Pass hit Terry Kennard. He couldn't hang on. He had some pasture in front of him.
I'll tell you one thing about the Redskins. I've always felt that if they can't run, if they don't really have the running game going, then they really have a tough time with the passing game. Joe Theismann, I have no idea why he threw that ball. It was double coverage, inside, outside, throws it right into the double coverage, maybe just trying to get rid of it because Marshall was there, but getting rid of it to the wrong guy.
Theismann 5 out of 13 for 101 yards here in the first half. They used 4 seconds, 14 left. Keith Griffin scrambles to his feet, a lateral to Theismann. Theismann is hammered out of bounds by Terry Kennard. Theismann rolled over like he might have been hurt, or shaken at least, but now he's back up. Say what you will about Joe Theismann, but he is some competitor, and tough.
Well, he could have been in shock on that play, but I'm sure he really didn't want that ball. Keith Griffin gave it back to him. He says, you keep it. I don't know why he threw that to Griffin. I mean, when you get down and there's only, you know, less than 10 seconds to play, and you have to go 60 yards, you may as well either just throw it out of bounds or try and get it to someone deep.
Just 4 seconds, as you said. 3rd and 17, the ball back at the Redskin 41. What they're going to do with the 3 wide receivers out wide to left is try to tip it to somebody if he has time. And it's picked off. Harry Williams. The half has come to an end, I think.
I don't know. There's about 50 players on the field. This is an interesting play. You don't know if the whistle blew. Williams kept going. There are about 50 players on the field. He just ran right through them.
It may take Williams most of the half to get back to the locker room. Half is over. So at the end of the first half at Giants Stadium, a half dominated by defense, the Giants lead Washington 7-0. That's the score at halftime. The Giants on a touchdown pass from Phil Simms to Mark Bavaro lead 7-0. The half ended on a rather confusing note. Here it is, the interception.
Well, Perry Williams intercepts the ball. Now, what the rule says is you're not down until someone touches you, but watch right there. Clint Didier, number 86, touched Williams with his foot. And you see the official, he's waving his arms. That means that they blew the whistle, the ball is down there. Williams continued to run 95 yards. No one touched him. Players were going on and off the field. It looked like a pretty good run.
Was a good run. Very tiring run, I'm sure. So that's the story. The Giants do lead 7-0. From Giant Stadium, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, welcome back to New York. I'm Brent Musburger along with Irv Cross. Let's take you to the scoreboard, show you the big plays we've had already on this busy Sunday afternoon. The Rams are shutting out the Chiefs. It is 13-0. They are at the half. The story here is the fact that Bill Kinney is out. Todd Blackledge is quarterbacking the Chiefs. He's had trouble. Eric Dickerson from 1 yard out powers in for the Ram touchdown. But you know, Irv, it is John Robinson's defense that has meant the difference here.
It's been the story all year, but they've been taking the ball away. And one reason for it is that the 4 defensive backs are great pass receivers. Johnny Johnson picks one off there, and they're great runners.
And overall, that Ram defense has intercepted 3 passes. That's why they lead 13-0 at the half of that game. The defending Super Bowl champions having their hands full again. They are in the Silverdome in Detroit. The Lions leading. Now, Ron Ferrari was injured on the opening kickoff. He has returned, however. But Pete Manley busted. This punt return, 63 yards. Herb, there was just some bad tackling by the Niners.
Anytime you get a return like that, you know, the coverage team just isn't doing a good job. 3 missed tackles, Brent.
And then Bill Walsh got a break when Detroit was forced to punt out of its own end zone. Mike Black fumbles, and here comes big guy McIntyre for 6 more. But the Lions came right back. They are playing with some intensity today, and Darryl Rogers' team right now has the lead.
Really a good run here. The pitch, James Jones going off his left tackle, just burrows in there, you know, running over those linebackers.
17-14, Lions ahead right now. Raiders and Cleveland. Bernie Kosar's passing set up the tying touchdown in this one. The Raiders were up by 7 points. Houston over Cincinnati, 17-10. They are in the second quarter of that game. New Orleans and Atlanta. Atlanta leading 14-10 in that one. Defensive end Mike Gann scored on a lateral of a fumble recovery. That was the big play in the first half as far as the Falcons were concerned. Indianapolis and Buffalo. Buffalo leading 7-6. They are in the second quarter there. San Diego and Minnesota, they are tied at 7, and it's good to report that Kellen Winslow has returned to the Chargers lineup. He, of course, suffered that major knee injury last year, and he is back seeing his first action. Pittsburgh and St. Louis, and the Steelers have unloaded the big play against the Cardinals. Jim Hannafin misses Rod Dowhower, who is his offensive coordinator, who is now the Indianapolis head coach. None bigger than this play.
Really a great play. Lewis Lips, watch his concentration. Gets bumped, hangs under the football for a 45-yard touchdown.
And they were not finished. Watch Pollard explode. 14 yards for the touchdown, and the Steelers lead the Cardinals 14-3 right now, and they are in the second quarter of that one. And now many of you are watching this game. The Cowboys, who were driving early, had one intercepted, finally get a touchdown. Hogaboom playing in place of the injured Danny White threw it to Dorsett, 7-3 there. The Giants, Washington, tough as expected, and it was a pass from Phil Simms to tight end Mark Bavaro, 29 yards, only scoring so far there. Now we're going to come back and take a look at the rookie New York Knicks center Pat Ewing when we continue after these messages from your local stations. Studios, New York. You know, next Saturday, Patrick Ewing makes his official debut in the NBA when the New York Knicks open their regular season against the Philadelphia 76ers. But already, Patrick finds himself engulfed in controversy. And in an interview here earlier today, I asked him about that and other challenges he faces in his rookie season as a pro. This is one of the most valuable elbows in professional sports. It belongs to Patrick Ewing, the rookie center of the New York Knicks in the NBA. Patrick, you suffered the injury last night. How is it?
It's fine. It's just a little bit tender, but everything is fine. It's not broken or anything.
Let's take a look at the incident involving you and Steve Stepanovich last night in Madison Square Garden. Explain for me what was happening in the game.
Well, he was trying to block me out. Right there, I was going for the offensive rebound, and we're banging, which is part of the game. And he just come out and grabbed me, slung me to the ground. Spent my elbow back.
And immediately Rory Sparrow comes up over the top, and you were separated. Were there any words exchanged afterwards between you two?
Naturally, I was angry. I'm blamed for everything that happened. I was listening to the news last night. I was the one that was blamed for it. It's just, I guess it's life.
Well, now, what about that reputation? That brings up an interesting point, because do you think referees might call more fouls on you because they think you're instigating these problems?
Well, I guess it probably so, but I can't worry about that. I'm just gonna go out and play hard every time, night in and night out. It was unfortunate that happened. I didn't expect it, but what can I do about it now?
Patrick, here is the cover of Business Week I'm looking at. You're here with the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern. This is the first time that Business Week has ever had a sports cover. You feel any kind of a burden that you're carrying around because of the lucrative contract you signed? And
No, not really. I'm very honored to be the first athlete that was on the cover of Business Week. But I'm not really feeling any pressure. As a matter of fact, I'm used to it.
What do you think about some of the athletes that you've had to compete against so far?
some great athletes. Everybody is so big and strong.
You looking forward to the confrontation with Moses Malone?
I'm looking forward to playing everybody. Hopefully we can win.
You know, Ben, I was surprised to read the story about Ewing being involved in a fight and everything. He's not that kind of personality. How did you find it?
Well, he's very aggressive as a player, Herb, and you know, when a youngster comes into a league like the NBA, I'm sure that the veterans are saying, look, we will accept that challenge right away. We do not want him to get the upper hand. He's going to be a tremendous pro, provided they do not demand too much too soon. The Knicks are not a good basketball team, I might add, but a chance to see him now. Next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on CBS, it'll be Patrick Ewing's regular season debut with the Knicks against Moses Malone and the 76ers. And right now, let's send you back to the stadium and the NFL game you're enjoying on CBS.
First half at Giants Stadium dominated by defense, as you would expect. The Giants, the #1 defense, Washington #2. The Giants have 1 touchdown. That's been it. It's 7-0, the Giants over Washington. There has been only 1 touchdown. That to the Giants, and they lead it 7-0 over the Redskins. It was from Phil Simms to his tight end Mark Bavaro.
Yeah, it was an interesting play in that the Bavaro was being played by a linebacker. We see Keating is here. Here's Bavaro. Now, one thing, Chris Keating didn't get a bump on him. Bavaro was able to take an outside release, run up, and run a corner. This is Joe Morris. He took his man to the outside, and there's a big hole in here. Now, what you see, he lets him get an outside release, Keating does. Now Bavaro has him beaten, and he gets in that hole between the corner and the safety after he beats Chris Keating.
And that's been it. Halftime statistics dominated by defense. The Giants do have 12 first downs, 50 yards rushing, 136 yards passing for a total of 186. Redskin total 135.
You know, the thing is, of course, we talked about both teams and the turnover problems they've had, and we see that that evens out. I think the thing that surprises me about the first half, Pat, is this is a defensive battle. It's 2 division teams, a big rivalry, but there's only really been 1 penalty in that whole first half, and of course that was a 15-yarder against Kenny Hill and his being thrown out of the game. But that was the only penalty that was accepted.
Each team has had 1 sack. The Giants sacked by the NFL leader, Leonard Marshall, number 70. Redskins got theirs on a blitz by Neil Olkowitz. Or I think it was by Mel Kaufman, was it not?
It was by Mel Kaufman, right.
Steve Cox will kick off for the Redskins. Bill Parcells made a rather interesting observation about Steve Cox yesterday. He said he can kick the ball just about as far as he wants to, but now they have so much new faith in their special teams, the kickoff coverage team, that they don't think they want him to kick it out of the end zone.
But they want to get the ball down there and get you inside the 20. I've always felt I'll take it anytime they kick it in the end zone. I would always take it.
That's George Adams, and he has to let it bounce back over his head and out of the end zone, so they'll start from the 20. I would take it too. Possessions for the Giants in the first half. Started on their own 6, ran 10 plays, had a punt. Own 19, 4 plays, an interception. Own 20, 11 plays, and the lone touchdown. And then you see the rest of the results. Johnson split out wide to the left and Manuel to the right. And Simms going right back to work. Mark Bavaro. There goes the penalty marker down.
Well, that crowd was calling for it over on that side of the field. They were calling for it against Tony Peters, number 23, for a late hit.
Late hit, number 23 defense, 15-yard penalty and a first down.
That's Tony Peters.
I think the Giants fans on that side of the field got that penalty. Peters came in here a little late. Now watch him. He's going to make the hit here after the whistle blows, after the guy's down. He makes that hit. The official didn't throw anything. See, there's no penalty now. Then the crowd on that side started to yell. And they started to yell and scream, and then a penalty flag comes in later. I think the crowd talked him into that one.
Byron Williams is the man in motion. That's Joe Morris. He hammers straight ahead for a pickup of about 7. Tony Peters, who just picked up the penalty, picked up the tackle.
We're just talking about penalties and saying in the first half there was only 1 penalty. Then we start this third quarter with 1. But again, that one, I'd give that credit, 15 yards of credit to the crowd.
Put him on the payroll.
Yeah, who said they can't help? Who said it doesn't help to complain?
2nd and 3. Manuel in motion. Carpenter outside. Short of a first down by half yard. Rich Malott on the tackle. It'll be 3rd and short.
Carpenter had a tough time running in the first half. He carried the ball 8 times for a -8 yards.
That is tough.
I was on a train last week, and there was an old guy sitting there, and he said, you know, he said, the farther I go, the behinder I get.
Think about it.
And I said, that's how Carpenter has to feel. The farther I go, the behinder I get.
Maurice Carthen is the blocker in the backfield with Joe Morris, and they give to Morris. He's got the first down. Morris is outside. Out of bounds at the Redskin 31. Curtis Jordan. A gain of 17. And how many times do you see that happen on short yardage?
I think that's the thing that Joe Morris gives his team is that quickness. He hits in there, and now he's really stopped right there. He hits into his own man, a Washington defender. Now he breaks out of the pile, boom, turns it upfield, and gets 17 yards on that play.
He got a crushing block, too, from Maurice Carthen to really open it up to the outside. Morris. With good effort. Drags Rich Malott for a gain of about 4.
Of course, you talk about that short yardage play. That's why Carthon was in there. Probably of the running backs of the Giants, Carthon is the best blocker.
Morris has picked up 56 yards on 10 carries. 2nd and 5 at the Redskin 26. The Giants on the move. Was incomplete. Sims is saying it's against the Redskins, but the referee, Gene Bart, says it's against the Giants.
And the Redskins were saying it's against the Giants, and it's in that area. 2 flags coming down.
Illegal use of the hands, number 61 offense. 2 hands to the face, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
2 hands to the face.
Well, you know, they can use their hands, the offensive linemen. But when they get their hands up there, they have to get it on that shoulder pad area. They can't get it up to the head. And that would be Chris Godfrey. He's blocking on Dave Buck. Watch, it's just to the left of the picture there. You see, he gets his hands up there. They're okay now. Maybe that right hand's up in the face mask. I don't know. That looked okay. I'd give that one to the offensive lineman. They're getting picky when they call that one. He didn't have 2 hands in the face that I saw.
2nd and 15. Charles Mann chases Sims. Manuel makes the catch. That's enough for the first down. A great effort by Phil Sims and by Lionel Manuel. A gain of 19.
Lionel Manuel is one of these guys that has good speed, good moves, but the thing that he does, watch him right here as he makes his break, he comes out of the break running. He doesn't come all the way under control. He's still breaking as he comes out of it, and now Sims has that timing down with Manuel.
He has become a very, very dangerous wide receiver. Monkey is the man in motion. They give it to Morris, who gets down inside the Redskin 20. Picked up short yardage. Curtis Jordan made the stop on Morris, along with Rich Malott.
This is what it looks like down there. You talk about a big, strong guy. Look at Darrell Grant taking on his blocker. You don't get any movement. Then if you don't get movement on that tackle, then that allows a pursuit to come from right and left and get you down.
That was Dave Butts that hit him first. They need 8. They have Carpenter open. He lunges in the arms of Tony Peters. Close to another Giant first down.
We said that Carpenter really hasn't had much success running today, but he has gotten some plays where they get him out in that flat or they loop the ball out there to him. That's been successful today for the Giants.
3 times for 21 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Now they come in. Maurice Carthon is in there to block again. So I'm sure that if you watch him, number 44, he will lead Joe Morris to where the hole is.
They have 2 tight ends on that side. Vito Cat. Handoff is to Morris. Rich Malott was the first Redskin. It's going to be close.
Yeah, that was power on power. They had, as you said, the 2 tight ends on that side. They did get a first down. Then they led with Carthon, and little Joe Morris just came right in behind that big load. Watch Carthon. He's going to go out to the right. 2 tight ends blocking down. Carthon leading. Morris now just slithers in there behind those blue jerseys and gets that extra lunge at the end to get the first down.
Maurice Carthon spent 3 years in the USFL. This is his first in the NFL. Carpenter is back in his place now. First down. Morris over the left side. Still on his feet. Morris hammers down to about the 2. Great effort by Joe Morris.
That's what he did there. On these last 2 plays, Morris has really had good second effort. Now they can't take Morris out here. I know what they're doing. Down there in this area, right on this area of the field, George Adams, their rookie running back, number 1 draft choice, has fumbled 3 times. So they're trying to keep Morris in. He's woozy. I'm sure one thing they don't want to do is to have to put George Adams in there. So they're even taking a timeout.
Well, they've got Carthon in the game.
Well, Carthon's going to be the blocker. Watch his second effort. He hits, he spins, he gets knocked backwards. Guy's grabbing his jersey, his arm, gets it turned around, and darts and gets that little thing right at the end there.
Here comes Carpenter. It's 3rd and goal from the 2. Now here comes Adams.
That's the one they don't want in there.
Adams and Carthon. The 2 running backs. Sims asking the crowd to be quiet. Carthon goes in motion and they give to Adams. Touchdown.
You talk about a guy who's pumped up. That's George Adams. He says, I've never been a fumbler. I don't know what's causing that, but 3 times on the goal line, and I'm not that type of guy. I'll tell you, talk about someone who needed something in a situation. George Adams just got it.
That could help his career for a long time. Talk about a confidence builder. Atkinson with Rutledge holding. And the Giants go up 14-0.
It is right here. Carthon goes in motion this time. Leeds gets a good block, a good kick out there. Adams is right behind him. And I'll tell you, he is going to get that in the end zone and hold on to it.
14-0. Atkinson to kick off. Giants have just scored with 9:12 left in the 3rd quarter and lead 14-0. Good kick this. Jenkins fumbles it in the end zone and leaves it there. He had been using a 3-inch tee before today. He switched this week to a 2-inch tee to try to get more distance on his kickoffs. Looks like it might have worked.
Let's watch that touchdown again. We never give all the guys credit, but I'll tell you, the right guard, Chris Godfrey, pulls out here and leads Adams in. We'll start motion here. And watch that block by the right guard. Watch him. He pulls out and leads Adams in. Good play right there. Got Adams in.
Riggins is back in the game. Theismann throws to Didier on first down. He's knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 6.
What
what the Redskins did in the first half. They started at their own 29, their own 20, and they had the punt. At their own 32, they had an interception. Midfield, they missed a field goal. Their own 48, they had a punt. 2nd and 4, the Redskins thusly have been shut out. And trail 14-0. 2nd and 4, Riggins, the lone setback. Riggins gets a carry. A lot of people around. Riggins is close to first down yardage. Pittsburgh over St. Louis, 17-3. They're in the 3rd quarter. Dallas still leading Philadelphia 7-3. Danny White did not play, has not started. So they've done what they've done with Gary Hogaboom. Rams 13-0 over Kansas City as they continue to roll. San Francisco trailing Detroit 20-14. 3rd and 1. Riggins still in the game. Riggins gets the carry. He gets the first down.
You know, Pat, it's interesting. We were talking about Carthon and how he blocks in short yardage. Otis Wansley, number 39, does the same thing in short yardage for the Redskins. See him, he comes in motion right here, gets that lead block right there on Patterson. Riggins runs right in behind Wansley for the first down.
The ball is at the Giant 31, 1st and 10. Otis Wansley, who excels on special teams as well. Didier is split wide to the right. Heisman back to throw, chased by Lawrence Taylor, and down he goes. Curtis McGriff was also there, but it was Taylor from the weak side and Burt from the middle. The Giants get their 2nd sack.
Well, you know, that's the type of thing that Taylor needed. He was talking about that. We're going to see him. He comes from right here. What they tried to do is run a bootleg after the fake. Taylor comes and meets Theismann right there. Now watch, they're going to pull. They're pulling the guards. The guards crossing. Riggins comes out to block Taylor. Taylor goes right by Riggins, and there's Theismann. That's that one that didn't work, you know, where they crossed the guards and try and bootleg, but they couldn't get Lawrence Taylor blocked.
Redskins can't come up with the right formation and have to use a timeout. Theismann comes over to the sideline. It has to be a long day for him so far and frustrating. That's the book on Theismann, 7 out of 16 for 100 yards. Back to throw on 2nd down. Trying to set up a screen. He does. To Didier. It's Don Warren, 85 instead of 86. They get good yardage. 2nd time they've run that play. Pickup of 17.
Hey, Jeff Bostic came out on the screen and made a block on Lawrence Taylor. Looked like he got his knee. Taylor's trying to shake it off, but it was a good block by Bostic, and it was really the block that was able to spring Didier. And you can see Lawrence Taylor, to see his left knee still limping a little.
Malcolm Barnwell is into the game now for the Redskins. It's Clark in motion. Here's the blitz by Taylor. And down goes Theismann.
Hey, I wonder if that limp fooled Theismann. Here the limp is over. Taylor said, watch me today. I'm going to get back in dominating this game. I'm going to start taking over. I'm going to start making some sacks. I'm going to start making some things happen. And he has today more than the past 3 weeks.
He surely has. Steve Cox back to kick. And a good one. McConkey at the 28, 27. On the far side of the field, the Giants will start from their own 36, leading 14-0. 5:58 left, 3rd quarter. 47-yard punt by Cox.
The Giants are really playing good defense this year. They're #1 in the league, and everyone thought when Mark Haynes held out and Elvis Patterson had to start there at corner, and they had the injuries and so on, that they wouldn't be able to do it. But Patterson has done a good job. Haynes reported to camp, signed a contract. They were thinking about activating him this week, but of course they didn't have time. He'll probably be active next week.
Morris back in the game, and Sims dumps it in that direction. Charles Mann finally made the stop. Let's check on what's happening around the rest of the league. The Raiders have taken a 14-7 lead over Cleveland in Cleveland. Houston 17, Cincinnati 13. Third quarter, that is. At the half, Atlanta 14-10 over New Orleans. That's a big game for the Falcons. Buffalo 14-6 over Indianapolis. San Diego 10-7. Second and 2, they give tomorrow. Not enough for a first. Dave Butts on the bottom of the pile. Joe Gibbs obviously concerned. Redskins trail 14-0.
You know, I think one of the things is concerned is the Redskins really aren't playing Redskin football. You know, where they take the ball and they pound you and pound you and pound you and pound you and finally get you pounded down in the fourth quarter.
Morris and Maurice Carthon. Well, the running backs, and Morris does it right by himself. First down, Giants. Curtis Jordan made the stop.
That's why you can't key on Carthon, because he's leading them to the right. Morris is going to come right back here off Goody's block. Now, Conrad Goody, who's the backup center, comes in as a tight end. And that was the guy who made the block that got Morris the first down.
First and 10. Giants from their own 47. Clock running at 4:12 left, third quarter. Sims to Morris. Chased by Butts. Taken down by Butts with an assist from Manley.
I don't know how anyone could run by Dave Butts, but here's a guy that weighs 305 pounds, and you can't let him get started. You can't let him get into your backfield. Watch Dave Butts here. He's right here on the left side of the screen. And what's going to happen is he just runs right inside the guard. Chris Godfrey fired out. I think he tried to get position, and Butts just clubbed him with that right hand and knocked him right out of the frame.
Second and 13. Pass picked off by Vernon Dean. Watch Benson on Manley.
Hey, Benson's been doing a pretty good job all day on Manley. See, Manley's now is trying to get the spinner. Benson will do anything that he has to get Manley bucked. He grabbed a hunk of jersey and pulled him down. Manley's fighting to get that sack. Sims threw the ball inside, and what happened is Vernon Dean got a good jump on it.
George Rogers is the Redskin runner. There's an injured player over right in front of the Giant bench. Can't tell as yet who it is. That's the reason they held up play. Nobody called a timeout. As soon as we find out who it is, we'll let you know. Giants 14, Washington nothing. The injured player was Joe Morris. He got up and walked to the bench under his own power. First down, Redskins midfield. Heisman chased by McGriff and Carson. Unloads. Gets it to Clark, who came back to him. Elvis Patterson, the defender. First down. And a Giant down. Right in front of the Redskin bench is another injured Giant.
Elvis Patterson is covering him from behind. You see, he's looking back to the ball like you have to. And what happened, Gary Clark makes a nice move of coming back to the ball. And then that looks like that late hit there. The guy diving in there at the end was Jim Burt. And he's the injured player, yeah.
Burt is the man down.
Elvis Patterson made the tackle. Burt was coming down the line of scrimmage, and he just dove head first into the pile. Here's Burt right here. Patterson is on him. Burt's just coming in. he does like a somersault. Look, his legs go up in the air, cartwheel, flip back. And he is still down there.
Looks like his right leg is the problem.
Yeah, it is. I think it's his right ankle, Pat. Usually they don't put weight on it like that. It's usually an ankle. You know, he may have gotten that right ankle or right knee hit before he went into the somersault move. That may have been the thing that caused him to go into that.
Man, it's been a long time since he did a somersault.
I'll tell you, he's a guy that the Giants, they don't have in there, will miss because he's more than just a player. You know, he's kind of the heart and soul, the spirit, and a big part of this team. One of those guys that's always ready to go, always anxious, loves it.
Jerome Sally's taking his place. Rodgers, the ball carrier, stopped by Leonard Marshall. For an NFL scoring update, let's send you back to New York and Brent Musburger.
Let's take a look now at Tony Dorsett of the Dallas Cowboys, busting across for a touchdown. He has scored twice for Dallas, and they're in command 14-6.
These two teams chasing those Dallas Cowboys. Both of them went into today's meeting at 3-3. Giants are leading at 14-0. 2nd and 8. Heisman will have to go in a hurry. Marshall was there. Sally was there. Let's see who got there first.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing here because I think what happened on this play, Pat, is no one was open. Now, Theismann has taken a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step drop, trying to throw. There was no one open. Then he had to bring the ball down. When he brought the ball down, then the whole pocket collapsed on him.
I think that's one of those things where you have to give a half sack to Marshall and a half to Sally.
You may give some quarters. It looked like there were some other guys in there.
3rd and 12. Heisman back to throw. Does have time. Does have Clark. Is close to a first down. I think he has it. Terry Kennard on the stop. Let's look at the box score while we have a moment on Theismann. 4 sacks, 4 hurries, 2 knockdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 batted ball.
You know, that's the thing that sometimes is important is those sacks or those hurries. You know, when you can't step up, you can't follow through, you're getting hit as you're thrown.
Redskins have a first down at the Giant 25. Muhammad and Clark are both split wide to the right. The fake to Rodgers. Heisman trying to buy time, throwing deep into the end zone. It's picked off by Terry Kennard. Calvin Muhammad was the intended receiver. 3rd interception off Theismann.
Let's watch the interception again. This is the one where this guard pulls this way, guard and tackle pull this way, Theismann fakes, then bootlegs out here. Now watch what happens. We see the lineman cross. Now right here we stop. Now he's ready to throw, and we see that there's no one open. Now he finally finds someone open in the back of the end zone, and he threw it short.
Adams was the ball carrier. Stopped by Charles Mann. Jim Burt is up and walking around. I don't know what it was still. Maybe his right knee, the way he's exercising right there.
It looks like he's trying to, get the kinks out of that right knee. Check that out. I think every player in the NFL, if you'd say, what's your biggest worry? I think their biggest worry would be their knees.
He does have a sprained knee. That's the word we get. Not sure he'll be back. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The end of the 3rd quarter with the score Giants 14-0. We now pause for a word from your local station. We start start the fourth quarter, and Sims comes on a bootleg. Not intentional, I don't think. He's hit and rolls out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench. Neil Olkowitz took him out of bounds. He got 9.
You know, at the change of quarter, a lot of things happen. You know, the teams change sides and they go up and down. The other thing that happens is a kicker, Jess Atkinson, switches ends of his kicking thing there. Look, he brings the deal down. He has the ball up in there, cleans everything off, pulls the cable up, gets all set for his warm-up. He doesn't want to kick the same way in the fourth quarter that he warmed up in the third quarter. So he sees it, okay, get everything out of the way, clean this area up.
A lot of things have changed. 3rd and 1. Adams over the left side, got the first down.
When you were a kicker with these Giants, Pat, did you do that? Did you have a net like that and stuff you carried around?
No way. Yeah, I had one piece of help. That was a galvanized bucket with some charcoal in it. That's the way you stayed warm. But you had to be careful because we only had one pair of shoes.
Well, then you had those big, you had that kicking toe, didn't you? On that
Yeah,
right
square toe, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was another piece.
Yeah, that's true.
You had the charcoal bucket and the kicking toe.
Carpenter bangs over the left side, got about 4. Darrell Grant. Joe Morris started suffering from dizzy spells. Earlier a little bit, he took a pretty good blow to the head. They said he might have a slight concussion. Apparently, they're not sure quite what is the problem yet. He was nauseous and had some dizzy spells.
And, you know, you see the trainer over there talking to him. You know, they keep asking him questions, you know, if he knows where he is, if he knows what the score is, if he knows what happened, those types of things to make sure that he stays alert.
2nd down. Adams over the left side. Just outside the 40. It'll be 3rd and perhaps 2.5 or 3. Dexter Manley on the bottom of the pile.
Did you see the way George Adams took that ball in line of scrimmage? He had both arms around that thing. He said, look, I've taken enough baloney about this fumbling. I'm going to get through this game and not fumble. Watch him. He'll come into the left side, takes a handoff from Phil Simms right there. Look, he has both hands around that ball when he's going to get hit.
It'll be 3rd and 2. Olkowitz on the stop.
That just shows how much confidence Phil Simms has in his throwing arm. Neil Olkowitz was about 6 inches from Adams, and Simms had to go whoop and zip that thing in there. Let's see if we can watch Adams here, and we'll see Olkowitz. It's going to be right on the right of the screen. Look at him. He's right next to him, and he got that ball in there to Adams before Olkowitz could take that one more step.
And Adams hung on for the first down. Ball's at the Giant 47. Byron Williams in motion. The handoff is again to Adams, who hammers for about 4. Darrell Grant to stop. Lawrence Taylor reflecting on the Giant bench. He's had a good day.
I tell you, he looks like he is reflecting about today's game and maybe the past, where he admits, he said, I really haven't played too well. And he said, but I got to get back to it. In fact, he said yesterday that today was going to be his best game ever. I don't think he's at that level,
no,
but I think he's somewhere in between.
2nd and 6. Redskin 49. The Redskins down inside their 35 before Curtis Jordan can make the stop. A gain of 15.
That's an interesting play that the Giants are running here. It's to the weak side. What they do is they try and get the flow. Look, like the ball's going to go to the left, and the back stops right there and then veers back to the right. They don't block the end. It was Charles Mann in that case. They don't block him. They just kind of option off him. If he misses a tackle, they're going to get a pretty big play, as they did now.
So it's Adams and Carpenter, the 2 ball carriers. Manuel in motion. Adams again. Same play the other way. Dexter Manley stopped him.
Of course, Dexter Manley didn't miss the tackle that time. They went with the same play to the left side, didn't block Manley that time, and Manley just closed it down and made the play.
Talking about Adams fumbling before, John, we have done a couple of weeks of talking about the exchange from center between Oates and Sims. And Sims sent word to us before the game that tell those guys I've heard enough about that snap from center.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
2nd and 8. Adams over the left side again. Darrell Grant made the stop. Just hammering away.
You know, I think that play, that hammer play, I think works better to the right. They go to the left there, and where they don't block that end, Manley seems to play it a little better than Mann does on this side.
Of importance also is the fact that they keep that clock running, and it's just over 9.5 minutes remaining now. The Giants trying to pitch a shutout, their 2nd of the year. Sims goes out of the shotgun. 3rd and 5 from the Redskin 30. Showing blitz. Who was Bobby Johnson, who did an out and up on Vernon Dean, and he spent a little too much time doing the out.
I tell you, Vernon Dean sure went for that out, though, because he went by him. See, Sims is getting pressure from Dexter Manley. But I'll tell you, Bobby Johnson put some move. Watch it right here. He's going to start to his left to go out. You see, he starts there. Vernon Dean really took a bite. In fact, he bit so much, he bit himself right out of the picture.
Rutledge holding Atkinson from 47 yards out. He's got it. Nothing. Giants. Don't forget that later today, as a matter of fact, right after football, 4:30 Eastern Time, America's Marathon, Chicago. 12,000 runners at least racing throughout Chicago. That's next here on CBS Sports. Atkinson ready to kick it off. Good, high, deep kick to Ken Jenkins. Lawrence Taylor made the stop on Jenkins. 34-yard return.
That's probably why Lawrence Taylor's on the team. He started on the kickoff team I'm talking about. He started from the right side. There is a flag down there where Lawrence Taylor started from.
Number 37 was offside on the kicking team. Penalties refused. First down.
Larry Flowers was offside. They refused it, the Redskins do. Wonder, with Atkinson now kicking off well and making that 47-yard field goal, you have to speculate about who is going to be the Giant field goal kicker. Place kickers from now on. Haji Sheik is eligible to come back. Theismann. Keith Griffin out of the backfield. He is hammered by Byron Hunt and Gary Reasons.
You know, Bill Parcells was saying yesterday that he thought of activating Ali Haji Sheik for this game. He said, but then in practice the other day, he said he really couldn't kick, and he said his left leg's okay. The one that feels tired now was his right leg. So Bill Parcells will get off the field then. He's still going with Atkinson, and that may be a more permanent thing.
It certainly might. Griffin gets up to about the 44-yard line. Perry Williams knocked him out of bounds. Jim Burt, by the way, is back at nose tackle, number 64. Wonder why his numbers in his jersey don't fit better.
Well, because the jersey's so small. What these guys do to get tight jerseys so no one can hold them is, say a guy's a 48 jacket, he'll wear like a size 42 jersey. And look how he's stretching on the back, that 6 and the 4. He just stretches that thing away where it looks like two separate numbers.
That one looks like it's ready for a blowout. Theismann under pressure again. Throws to Keith Griffin. He manages to hang on. Perry Williams made sure he stayed down. Washington was the league leader in time of possession when this game began. But look at the difference today. The Giants have had it 30 minutes, 52 seconds. The Redskins only 18-10.
Well, the Giants got a little running today to go with their passing. That's really what they needed.
Showing blitz. They don't. Pass complete to Gary Clark, who took a wrap from Herb Welch. A couple of new scores. The Rams shutting out Kansas City 16-0 there in the fourth quarter as well. Houston over Cincinnati 27-13. You had to figure it was just a matter of time for Houston. Buffalo 14, Indianapolis 9. Still in the third quarter, and Dallas 14-9 over Philadelphia. 3rd and 1. Riggins left side, first down. Well, you get ahead of the Redskins, and how many times have we seen it happen, John? You get Riggins out of the game. The Raiders 14-10 over Cleveland, third quarter.
That's the way that everyone always wanted to play the Redskins, is to stop Riggins and then get ahead of the Redskins. Then that takes Riggins out of the game. He was there on that play because it was a short yardage. But now we see, where they put a Keith Griffin in there because they have to pass more.
For Clark, Theismann just couldn't get it there. Elvis Patterson on the coverage. 6:21 left to play. Redskins at the Giant 43.
But again, getting back to that, and everyone played the Redskins that they can't beat you alone with a pass. So if you can stop their run, get Riggins out of the game, make them have to pass, put them in a position where they have to pass all the time, they aren't going to beat you.
2nd and 10. Through his arm. Terry Kennard rides him to the ground.
I think that was one thing. Joe Theismann and Joe Gibbs were both saying how Clint Didier is so good in the open field. He doesn't really have good speed. He really doesn't have good move, but he can get open and he adjusts well to the ball and catches everything. Of course, the minute you think that or say that, the guy's going to drop one.
Great story how the Redskins found him. They were looking at Neil Lomax, and they needed somebody to catch the ball. They didn't even know his name, but he was catching everything Lomax threw. Theismann throws quickly. What a heck of a throw that was to Calvin Muhammad. Theismann was about to be really clobbered.
I tell you, and that is tough, too, for the right-hander when he has to throw to the left. He backs out. He usually throws to the left when he backs out. But see, he had pressure from that side from Marshall, really couldn't step into it. Watch Muhammad. He's working the out there on Perry Williams, gets out in front of him, just enough for a first down.
They move to the Giant 29. 6:14 left to play. Didier, the move man. Theismann. Gary Clark makes about the only thing you can say about that, that's a very courageous catch.
Well, and it was even somewhat acrobatic because he had it. It's hard to jump up in the air to catch a ball when you got a guy hanging on you. Elvis Patterson was hanging on Gary Clark, and he was able to still jump up and bring Patterson with him.
You usually don't go as high, do you?
Well, I've gained a lot of weight on that jump.
At the 13. Crowd coming to its feet, cheering for a shutout. Clark is the man in motion. Almost picked off again by Terry Kennard and batted away. He's got one interception and had two that were possible. Philadelphia has gone ahead of Dallas. A pass from Jaworski to Kenny Jackson.
I tell you, the Giant fans are going to like that one. You know, both coaches said before the game that the winner of this game is going to have a chance to chase Dallas. The loser probably won't, and St. Louis is also losing. So the winner of this game is going to be a lot better off tonight than he was this morning.
He'll be alone in second place, and if Philadelphia hangs on, he'll just be a game out. They're after Theismann, and down he goes again. Marshall and Andy Hedden. 5 sacks by the Giants against Theismann.
Yeah, it's funny how far Leonard Marshall's come along, Pat. We've been watching him. This is his 3rd year. First year, didn't do an awful lot. Second year, started to feel confident. And now the way he's playing and the way he's getting sacks and just the way he carries himself on a Saturday practice, he looks like a totally different guy. This guy has to feel now like King Kong.
3rd and 18. Griffin is the lone setback. They're after him again. Jerome Salley. And Russ Grimm gets up limping. Mosley from 47 yards, trying to avoid the shutout. Giants don't even rush. It's good.
Well, there's a penalty on the play, Pat. It's going to be against the Giants. They had 2 guys on the field and the sideline, which would have given them 13 guys. But it'll be interesting here. I'm sure the Redskins will turn down a penalty and take the 3 points.
New York defense had 12 men in the field. Penalties refused. Field goal is good.
17-3.
Harry Carson's arguing there, but they didn't have 12. They had 13.
4.5 minutes left to play. Remember, the Redskins have already used one of their timeouts. They have 2 left. The Giants 17-3 with exactly 4.5 minutes left to play. Steve Cox set to kick off. Giants are expecting, and so are we, an onside kick. Funny one. Batted into the air. Larry Flowers came down with it. Adams tipped it. Flowers jumped and came down with it.
Let's watch that 3rd down sack again. And it was Jerome Salley that got that sack, and he's right here. He's just working right here, and Ken Huff gets by him and makes the sack of Theismann. I think Lawrence Taylor up in there helps. You see it? He starts to the inside, whaps him, goes to the outside, and gets the sack. After that play, these Giant fans gave the Giant defense a standing ovation.
Giants have the ball at their own 33. 4:24 left to play. Adams hammers left side. Stopped by Butts and Grant.
You know, one of the things about turnovers is, you know, you're not going to eliminate them, but you hope that if you do have them, that the other team has as many as you do. And I think, you know, the Giants still had turnovers today, but the Redskins had more, so then you get the advantage back.
They haven't had any fumbles. Second down, 7. Adams left side. Maybe a yard or 2 this time. Mel Kaufman filled the hole as Bill Parcells has to be as down as he was last week, up that high this week.
I'll tell you, he's really going to loosen up a little now. I think after those last 2 weeks, he was very tight. And you know what happens as a coach? It's a funny thing, but you wonder when you lose, you wonder if you're ever going to win again. And I know that that's what Bill Parcells said. Are we ever going to get it back and win again?
How much more can I? What can I do? Giants leading with just over 3.5 minutes left to play, 17-3. Turnovers. That just points out what you were saying a minute ago, John.
That's the thing, is you're not going to eliminate him. You can't take a guy like Phil Simms, who really has a hot hand as a passer, and say, Phil, don't throw any interception, because then the guy doesn't throw. I mean, you have to be aggressive. You have to go after things, make things happen. And you will get some turnovers. But then you hope, if you do, that your defense gets you back as many as you get.
3rd and 5, Giants. Redskins have 1 timeout remaining. Adams didn't quite get it, but he gave it quite an effort.
You know, the Giants only have 2 halfbacks. That's Joe Morris and George Adams. Joe Morris still has that slight concussion, so Adams is in there running the clock out. These Redskins guys know that Adams fumbles, so when he does that at the end of the game, they're really going after him. They're really giving him the test.
The Giants pair of Pro Bowl linebackers, Harry Carson on the left, Lawrence Taylor, number 56. 4th and short.
Phil Simms is over there talking to Bill Parcells. I bet what they're talking about is that deal where you take the phony count. No, he's not even going to try that. Usually on 4th down, you know, you can put your offense in there and just have them try and draw the defense offside. If they don't, take the penalty and kick.
The Giants are going in a hurry. Do they have enough men?
The Redskins don't. I think they only have 10.
Reasons is going with the long count now. Finally, they snap it. Another good kick. Fielded in the end zone. How about that one? Ken Jenkins took the ball in the end zone and brought it out. 57-yard punt. He brought it back 27 yards.
I think probably what Jenkins was thinking is, here we've played all day. We've only scored 3 points. We're down by 14. There's only a little over 2 minutes to go. We haven't made anything happen all day. I may as well try it from the end zone.
He didn't miss far breaking that for a lot more yardage. Keith Griffin, the lone setback. Redskins first down. Theismann. Taylor blitzing. Griffin makes a great adjustment to come back and catch it. Andy Hedden stopped him.
Well, this really isn't what the Redskins need, is that short passing, that 7-8 yard passing. They have to get the ball up the field because they need 2 scores. Although that's easy for me to say, but this is what Theismann is looking at. Number 56 hanging on.
2nd and 3. Theismann throwing on every down. He has to. Again, he goes underneath to Griffin. Gary Clark. Sorry. That's a first down. Terry Kennard made the stop. They'll get the 2-minute warning, and that'll stop the clock. And remember, the Redskins only have 1 timeout remaining. Giants have a lead of 17-3. 2 minutes to go. Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Giants leading the Redskins 17-3. Theismann back. Behind Clark. Interesting, talking with the Redskins yesterday, they were saying that every pass pattern they run is not really a pattern. Every receiver makes an adjustment every time.
That's the thing, and I think that's one of the problems that the Redskins have been having with Malcolm Barnwell, who they traded for from the Raiders, and Calvin Muhammad. They aren't used to that type. They're used to running a pattern, but here every one is an option.
Clark heading for out of bounds. No, he cuts back inside to the 40. Herb Welch tripped him up. 1:45 left to play.
Again, the Redskins only have 1 timeout with 1:40, but they have to think in terms of 2 scores, so they have to get 1 quick here.
Flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. Back back in the backfield.
And that's going to be holding against the Redskins. I'm sure of that. That's the area where they call that offensive holding.
Yes, sir.
They got him there. That's the greatest drive stopper in the NFL.
The Giants, I suppose, one of the keys.
61 offense, holding, 10-yard penalty. It still remains first down.
Has been their ability to run.
Well, that's the interesting thing about it. Today, the Giants have run the ball 41 times. They've passed it 26. I think that's what Bill Parcells said yesterday. He said we have to run the ball, so we don't want to get where we just pass all the time. I think he was able to get back to that today and is going to get a victory because of it.
Right at midfield. First and 20. For Clark. To about the 38. Terry Kennard on the stop. But the clock continues to go.
Well, the Redskins only have one timeout left. They want to wait to use it.
Keith Griffin out of the backfield.
But if you keep throwing those little 6 or 7 yard passes, you either have to use the clock and have a lot of timeouts, or you're going to take all the time just scoring the first score. You don't have a chance to win.
That's what's happening. George Martin jumps offside. That stops the clock. They have to be hoping.
Number 61 offense.
No. On Ken Huff. Was not Martin who jumped off sides.
Well, it is one way to stop the clock. You know, they talk about long games. They say it's this and it's that reason. Long games are called when you have a lot of passing. If you don't have a lot of passing like we have today, you're going to have a short game. You get a lot of passes the way we've had last week with the Giants, then you're going to get a long game. It's as simple as that. It's passing and penalties that cause long games.
3rd and 8. Clark shakes away from a couple of people and is down at about the 16. I'll tell you, he is pretty impressive, isn't he?
I'll tell you, Casey Merrill, the defensive lineman, got him from behind, and that could have been a touchdown-saving tackle.
Redskins have just used their last timeout. What they have to be hoping is touchdown and then perhaps recover an onside kick. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or any other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. Gary Clark has caught 10 passes for 182 yards. The most entertaining afternoon here on CBS tonight. 60 Minutes, Murder, She Wrote, Crazy Like a Fox, Trapper John M.D. And later this afternoon on CBS Sports, the Chicago Marathon.
I've never run one of those. Yeah.
I don't think either one of us is going to make it to the marathon. Muhammad. Calvin Muhammad had a shot. Perry Williams was on the coverage. Heisman led him to the outside. He had to turn completely around.
Now, again, I'm sure that's what the Redskins are saying, and Joe Gibbs is telling Joe Theismann, every throw from now on has to be in the end zone because, again, we're thinking 2 scores.
2nd down, 37 seconds remaining on the clock. Didier in motion. Heisman has it, got it away. Intended for Didier.
Elvis Patterson was there. He didn't know what to do. The ball was tipped, and Patterson was going to get it before it was tipped, and then he didn't know what to do, so he just jumped up in the air as the ball bounced in front of him. He has really played well. A year ago, he had the nickname of Toast. This year, Mark Haynes holds out, doesn't come to camp. He's put in there, and he's really done a good job for the Giant defense, Elvis Patterson here.
On 3rd down. first down. Andy Hedden. By the way, there are 2 minutes remaining in Philadelphia, and the Eagles continue to lead the Cowboys 16-14. Fourth down, 20 seconds left here. Theismann will have maybe one more shot unless it's incomplete. 7 sacks again by the Giants. They lead the league. They had 30 coming in. Look out. Casey Merrill had a chance. Marshall is knocked off, and Theismann goes to Clark. He is knocked down. The game is over. Ted Watts made the tackle, and the Giants defeat the Redskins 17-3 and improve their record to 4-3. Washington slips back to 3-4. That's the final. Brent Musburger will be along in just a second to bring you up to date on the scores and highlights of today, the postgame show, the NFL Today. That's coming up next. We're through at Giant Stadium. Most impressive defensive performance by the Giant defense.